we have a standard for that position, regardless of who's in there. Practice, games, how we operate, what we believe in. We have a very, very high standard.
The Cleveland Browns are one play away from talking about one of these two kids starting. And the scary thing is, instead of preparing them and getting them ready to play and getting them ready to be a guy that's going to back up a 41-year-old quarterback, you play games and have them thrown on the side field.
Well, first off, they just didn't want to make a hard decision, right? They're figuring out who's going to be number two is going to be a difficult decision. It would have been a much harder decision to figure out which one of those young men would start. And when you look at what the Cleveland Browns are doing, this is why people spin the block in relationships, right? You remember, hey, man, I had a great relationship with this person. Then I moved to this person and it wasn't so good.
The Cleveland Browns dropped a bombshell today. At 40 years old, veteran Joe Flacco has officially been named the Week 1 starting quarterback. No surprise given his track record, but what's setting the fan base ablaze isn't just the choice. It's the perceived snub of 23-year-old rookie Shedeur Sanders. Sanders, fresh off an electric preseason debut, 14 of 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns, was sidelined by an oblique injury. And suddenly, instead of earning snaps, his opportunity evaporates. Now many are asking, is this about winning right now or loyalty to a seasoned face? Is Stefanski playing it safe or is he showing a complete lack of vision for the future? Critics, like Garrett Bush, are calling it exactly what it looks like, playing games with a young fella. And it's not just fans. Journalists and analysts are calling out what they see as a missed chance to develop a promising talent. Is the Browns' quarterback strategy a bridge to next year or a brick wall that blocks the future?
Is what I feel about
But that's the thing. If they don't play, Swag, how do you know? Like even if they're at practice and like Jason said, we're seeing them do well against the ones playing well in 7-on-7. It's still practice.
We're talking about practice.
But RC,
not the game.
That's the question that I'm asking.
Ryan Clark didn't hold back. He flat out said that Shedeur Sanders hasn't been given the playing time he deserves to prove himself. And honestly, he's right. How can the Browns expect to make a confident decision about their future quarterback after Joe Flacco if they're not even giving Sanders the opportunity to step on the field in real games? Clark pointed out something critical. Every single time Shedeur has been tested in training sessions, he's delivered. Poise under pressure, pinpoint accuracy, the kind of leadership presence you look for in a franchise quarterback. Yet, without those live game reps, it's almost impossible to measure his true ceiling. And Garrett Bush went all in. He didn't mince words. He flat out declared that Kevin Stefanski does not care about doing the right thing. Instead of building up his young quarterback, Stefanski has thrown Shedeur Sanders to the sidelines with the support staff while giving valuable reps to a 41-year-old Joe Flacco, whose one injury could send the entire season into chaos. Garrett said this isn't just a one-time decision, it's a pattern. It happens every single time. And according to him, this is exactly the point where the Browns' season begins to spiral out of control. The ball is literally dropping from their hands once again, and fans are left wondering, have they learned nothing from the past?
You play games and have them thrown on the side field with support staff. This is the stuff that the Cleveland Browns drop the ball on every single time. They worry about the wrong stuff.
And Garrett is right. This is a pattern. Because if you watched Coach Kevin Stefanski during his latest press conference, it was impossible to miss. The man looked uncomfortable even mentioning Shedeur Sanders' name. His hesitation was written all over his face. Reporters pressed him about why, all of a sudden, he decided to start his main quarterback in the third preseason game, something he completely avoided last year. And his answer? Vague at best. We do what the players need. That's not the kind of confidence you expect from a head coach addressing the future of his football team. That's not leadership. That's deflection. And it only adds fuel to the fire. Maybe, just maybe, the Cleveland Browns don't actually know what to do with Shedeur Sanders. And if that's the case, then we're not just looking at a quarterback controversy. We're looking at a leadership problem at the very top.
this year would be that joint practice in week 1. And then this year, just feel like that's what this team needs to get ready. Try to every single year make decisions based on what the guys need. So that's what we'll do.
And here's the real issue. Shedeur Sanders hasn't been given a single real chance. No game snaps, no time with the first-team offense. So how does that line up with Stefanski's claim of doing what the players need? If the Browns are truly committed to developing talent, then leaving Sanders stranded on the sidelines makes absolutely zero sense. Fans are frustrated, and rightfully so. The one quarterback they're most excited about, the one who represents the future, hasn't even been allowed to step on the field and prove himself. Instead of inspiring confidence, Stefanski's words now sound like excuses. And rather than clarity, his answers are only sparking more doubt, more frustration, and more questions about what the future of the Browns' quarterback position really looks like.
So your quarterback didn't play?
Last year?
Yeah, Watson.
Yeah.
The uncertainty around Stefanski's choices just keeps growing. When he was pressed again about the quarterback situation, his response was short and vague. "We'll make that call in a couple of days." But let's be real. Deciding your starter on such a tight timeline doesn't look like a solid strategy. It looks like stalling, and fans see right through it. This doesn't feel like a real quarterback competition. It feels like yet another way to push Shedeur Sanders into the background. Stefanski's unclear answers don't inspire confidence. Instead, they sound like delay tactics, stalling for time, rather than showing any kind of decisive leadership. And in the NFL, indecision can be just as costly as making the wrong call. When the conversation turned to Shedeur Sanders, Stefanski didn't hold back. He said point blank that he doesn't expect Sanders to return this week. But it wasn't just the words, it was the tone. Instead of showing concern for his young quarterback's recovery, his delivery almost sounded like a sigh of relief. And fans picked up on that immediately. To them, it feels like Stefanski isn't in any hurry to get Sanders back on the field. Why? Because once Shedeur is cleared to play, the coach won't be able to sidestep the looming quarterback controversy any longer. Right now, it looks like Stefanski is buying time, doing everything possible to delay the inevitable showdown between Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur, do you expect them to increase their level of participation in practice this week?
I hope so. We really have to take those day by day, so I don't know where that ends up towards the end of the week, but I'm hopeful.
Adam Schefter gave us some real perspective on why the Browns seem so hesitant with Shedeur Sanders. According to him, it all comes down to investment. The Browns didn't spend major draft capital on Sanders. They picked him up in the 5th round, more of a why-not flyer than a franchise-changing commitment. And because of that, there's zero urgency. No push to develop him, no plan to put him in the spotlight. Schefter made it clear. Sanders wasn't drafted to take over right away. He was seen as a maybe for later, and that mindset is exactly why he's being pushed aside now, instead of being groomed into a potential franchise quarterback. The problem is, that maybe later approach could cost the Browns big time, because if Sanders really does have the talent people believe he does, then burying him on the depth chart isn't just wasting potential, it's sabotaging their own future. Then Swagoo jumped in with a powerful counterpoint. If the Browns really did invest so little in Shedeur Sanders, then what's the harm in giving him a real shot? Practice reps, preseason snaps, live game action, that's how you find out if a young quarterback can rise to the challenge. He questioned why Kevin Stefanski isn't putting in that effort. Even if Sanders was only a 5th-round pick, the team has still spent resources on him, and that alone should be reason enough to see what he's got. To Swagoo, it just doesn't add up. Why keep him sidelined? Why hide him? In his eyes, the Browns are flat out wasting an opportunity by refusing to let Shedeur Sanders prove what he's truly capable of.
Trying to understand, because I'm with you. Why wouldn't they be competing in practice, in preseason, to become a starter? Why wouldn't you want, if you Kevin Stefanski, and you know that a lot of this stuff is predicated on probably your job in the next couple of years, however long you last, why wouldn't you be trying, day one, if it's Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel, why are you not trying to find out if they can start for your football team before the season?
So here's where it all comes together. Kevin Stefanski's decision to roll with Joe Flacco might buy the Browns short-term security, but it leaves massive long-term questions unanswered. Shedeur Sanders has the talent, the poise, and the upside, but he's being kept in the shadows. Analysts are calling it out, fans are furious, and even insiders admit the team doesn't seem to have a clear plan for his development. At the end of the day, this isn't just about who starts in Week 1. It's about the future of the Cleveland Browns. Do they want to keep clinging to veteran stopgaps, or are they finally ready to invest in building a true franchise quarterback? Until Stefanski and the Browns show some real vision, the uncertainty will keep hanging over this team, and the longer they stall, the higher the price could be. But what do you think? Are the Browns making the right move by leaning on Flacco, or are they wasting Shedeur Sanders' potential before it even has a chance to shine? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for all the latest breaking news and analysis. Because trust me, this quarterback drama is just getting started.